Have you ever thought about how you could win, I mean, really succeed, without ever actually, starting a fight? Sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? But today, we're digging deep into a playbook that sort of teaches exactly that. It's Robert Greene's The 33 Strategies of War. And look, this isn't some dusty old military manual. Think of it more like a really powerful modern guide for mental toughness, strategic thinking, getting an edge, basically, in pretty much every part of your life. And it's not just for like generals or CEOs either. Greene really wrote this for anyone who wants to outthink, maybe outlast, and just, well, outplay the chaos we all deal with day to day.
Right. And what's really fundamental, I think, is that the core idea here, it isn't about physical fighting at all. It's profoundly about control. Control over your own mind, yeah, but also your reactions. And maybe even control over people you see as, well, adversaries. Greene's work, it's like this potent mix of Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, and honestly quite a lot of therapeutic insights into why people do what they do. He's basically showing you the game, whether you realized you were playing or not.
Okay, so you should probably get ready then, because by the end of this deep dive, you'll likely start seeing, well, everything differently. Every conversation, every little conflict, maybe situations at work. You'll see it through this lens of a strategic game. We're going to break down some of the most, well, impactful and maybe surprising strategies Greene lays out. And we're starting with a big one, maybe one of the most provocative, the polarity strategy. Greene calls it declare war on your enemies.
Yeah, and a key idea Greene puts forward here is his point that your enemies define you. He argues that, in life, trying to be neutral isn't safe. It can actually be a real weakness. If you don't stand for something or maybe against something, the world often just picks a side for you. The really counterintuitive thing here is that having an external enemy can actually be this powerful internal tool. It clarifies what you value, it sharpens your focus in a way that just chasing a vague goal sometimes doesn't. It defines what you stand FOR by showing what you stand against.
That's a really interesting way to put it. It does sound a little ruthless, though. Where does Greene draw the line between this strategic enemy and just creating actual negativity or unnecessary conflict? Because declaring war, well, that could go wrong fast, couldn't it?
That's a really good point. And Greene does emphasize it's less about literal fighting, more about mental clarity. The enemy isn't always a person you're actively battling. It could be anything standing in your way. Think about, say, procrastination, or maybe a limiting belief you have about yourself. If you identify that as the enemy, you can focus all your strategic energy against it. Instead of just, pushing forward vaguely, it's about channeling that opposition into a clear purpose.
Okay, I see. So, like Muhammad Ali, maybe. He didn't just fight the guys in the ring. He strategically built up these, media enemies, these huge rivalries. And by standing against them, he didn't just win fights. He became this absolute legend because he clearly stood for something. So, for you listening right now, who or what could be your enemy in this sense? Is it maybe laziness or that difficult boss who seems to doubt you? Or perhaps it's just fear itself. But okay, what happens when your enemy starts to predict what you're going to do? That brings us to another really disruptive idea from Greene, the Guerrilla-War-of-the-Mind strategy. Basically, do the unexpected.
Right. In a world that loves routines, where everyone kind of expects you to follow the script, the unpredictable person, that's the one who really controls things, controls the narrative. Greene tells us to act a bit like guerrilla fighters. Strike fast, make your move, then vanish. Don't hang around, don't explain yourself. The power is predictability makes you easy to defeat. Your opponents see your moves coming. But breaking patterns, that creates chaos for them and opportunity for you.
So it's not just about being random then, if I'm getting Greene right. It's about strategically breaking patterns to control how things unfold. Because I can imagine someone just trying to be unpredictable and, well, just seeming erratic or flaky.
Exactly. It's not chaos for chaos's sake. It's deliberate unpredictability. Greene's advice is clear. Don't explain your actions. Don't announce your big plans beforehand. Just let your success, your results, speak for themselves. He even says something like, let your results punch them in the face. A bit harsh, but you get the idea. The core concept is people who are hard to predict. They're almost impossible to control. They become this force that others just can't anticipate, and so they can't counter effectively.
And if you really, truly commit to these ideas, Greene suggests a way to make sure you don't back down. This one is the death ground strategy. The title says it all. Put yourself in a position where retreat is impossible.
This whole strategy is built around that powerful metaphor, burning the boats. The idea is you just eliminate any option of going backward. You cut off your escape route. Historically, you see this with Hernán Cortés back in 1519. He literally burned his ships when he landed in Mexico. His troops had no choice.
Right.
Conquer or die. There was no going home. In a more modern way, maybe think of Elon Musk going all in on Tesla, right? Making these huge, irreversible bets that basically force the company to find a way to succeed. When retreat just isn't an option anymore, moving forward becomes the only path.
Wow. Okay. That is intense. But what if burning the boats means you've locked yourself into a path that's actually, wrong, fundamentally flawed? Isn't there a risk of just trapping yourself or even kind of sabotaging yourself with that level of commitment?
That's a really valid concern. And Greene would probably argue this strategy isn't for every single situation. It's definitely not a blind leap. It's for those moments where you've done the calculation, you believe deeply in the path, and you know you need that extra push. The risk is exactly what creates that immense pressure. The pressure needed to unlock hidden reserves, ingenuity, effort you didn't know you had. It forces you to find solutions you wouldn't otherwise look for.
So how does this connect to, your life, our lives? Imagine you want to quit the 9 to 5, build your own brand. Greene isn't saying, oh, give it a try. He's saying, metaphorically, burn the safety net. What would it mean for you to truly burn the boats on a personal goal, where failure just isn't an option because you've made retreat impossible? It's definitely a terrifying thought, but also incredibly motivating, right?
Okay, next up, let's explore how perception itself can be maybe your most powerful weapon. This is the counterbalance strategy, occupy the moral high ground.
Yeah, it's fascinating how Greene frames this one. Winning isn't always about being the loudest or the most aggressive. It's often about appearing to be in the right. He basically explains that if public opinion sees you as the victim, or maybe the hero, you've kind of already won, regardless of the objective facts. This strategy really hinges on the idea that public perception is, malleable. You can shape it to your advantage.
And here's where it gets really, really interesting. Greene actually advises using morality itself as a strategic tool. If you can position yourself as righteous, then any aggression or resistance from your opponent automatically looks, evil. While your own actions, even if they're quite assertive, they appear just, necessary even. It really hammers home that idea that public opinion can be more damaging to someone than any cold, hard fact. It's almost like a form of psychological jujitsu, isn't it?
Precisely. You use their perceived aggression against them. You make their every move look like an attack on something good, on virtue, while your own firmness is framed as just defending it.
Okay, so once you've set the stage strategically, maybe taken the moral high ground, how do you make sure your efforts actually gain traction and don't just fizzle out? Greene has a powerful answer for this, and it's all about momentum. This is the chain reaction strategy. Create unstoppable momentum.
This strategy really emphasizes how small wins can trigger much larger ones. It creates this cascading effect. Greene compares it to like a nuclear chain reaction. One strategic move kicks off a whole ripple of victories, each one building on the last. The really deep insight here, I think, is that true momentum isn't always about these grand, huge gestures. It's often about identifying the smallest, most inevitable domino, that tiny, almost effortless action that, once you do it, makes the next slightly bigger step feel not just possible, but logical, even necessary. It's kind of like engineering inevitability step by step.
Yeah, finding that first easy domino to just nudge over. And for you listening, this can be super relatable, right? Think about starting small, like fixing your sleep schedule. That seems manageable. But once that's better, it often kind of triggers a desire to fix your diet, maybe. And once your diet improves, you might suddenly find yourself more motivated to tackle bigger habits, like getting exercise or getting organized. It's a powerful idea. Success isn't always built in one massive effort. It's often triggered by this sequence of increasingly larger positive steps. Okay, finally, let's get into maybe the most stark strategy, the one that really challenges our polite assumptions about the world. The dirty war strategy. We are all in the trenches.
Right. This one asks us to basically stop pretending life is always fair. Greene's call here is to accept life's inherent warlike nature, the competitive, sometimes ruthless undercurrents. He argues that the sooner you embrace this reality, the faster you'll actually accelerate your own advancement and get to your goals. It's really about shedding naivety and confronting the world as it is, not just as we wish it would be.
This idea of life as a war, it does feel pretty cynical, doesn't it? How does Greene balance this kind of pragmatism with the fact that we still need trust and genuine connection in our lives? Because we can't just operate like pure strategists 24/7.
Well, Greene isn't really advocating for cynicism, I don't think. It's more about heightened awareness. He suggests that by understanding these strategic undercurrents, you can actually navigate situations better. Protect yourself, yes, but also maybe build stronger, more authentic connections because you can better identify who isn't playing those games with you. And let's be honest, this war does play out in daily life constantly. That coworker who smiles to your face but, subtly sabotages your project, that's a dynamic he's talking about. Or maybe the friend who never really offers genuine support, who subtly undermines your successes. That's part of it too. Recognizing these dynamics, Greene argues, isn't being paranoid. It's just being awake to the reality of how people interact sometimes. So yeah, circling back to the big picture here, the 33 strategies of war isn't about becoming malicious or evil. It's fundamentally about understanding and then skillfully engaging with the game that's already being played, all around you, whether you choose to see it or not.
Exactly. And a core insight from Greene, really, is that so many people fall into traps or just find themselves constantly on the back foot precisely because they're unaware they're navigating this kind of strategic landscape every day. So this deep dive into Greene's work, the goal is really to help ensure that you are never caught off guard again.
Yeah. And that really leads to a powerful question, doesn't it? Something for you to think about long after this discussion. Are you the commander of your own life, or are you maybe just a soldier in someone else's war?
That is definitely a question worth thinking about. So as you move forward, maybe let this idea guide you. Your next move should always aim to be your smartest one. Keep thinking like a general, not just a foot soldier.